Hello, soul friends. Welcome to another Conversations with Kristin, that thrilling, magical time of your day where you explore human consciousness from the inside out. So today I have a very, very fun topic for you guys. Time travel. The timelines in our consciousness and how their activations in our brain are impacting our life covertly from behind the scenes of consciousness. So we all are filled with timelines. This could be described in a number of ways, but I'm going to use the word timelines for conversation's sake. So every human being is filled with timelines inside of their brain and body. And this refers to the style in which the brain's neural networks and various other pathways within the body, like aspects of how the nervous system is programmed, for example, these different neural networks, these cells, these synapses that store information, these ganglia, these nerve cells that house data, they house information. And the information comes from experiences. And so the timeline of the experience that wired this network of ganglia is what are the timelines throughout our brain and body. So every human being is filled with timelines, and they're constantly being activated. It's how our brain knows how to process and interpret things, and how our body knows how to optimally survive. And that's why if you burn yourself on a stove once, you're less likely to do it again, because anytime you're in a situation where that might be a potential, your brain and body are recalling that situation, projecting data to you, and you're able to respond accordingly and hopefully avoid that happening again. And so let's say you're skateboarding or bicycling down a street where you've crashed before. Every time you go down that street on a bicycle or a skateboard or whatever it was that you were riding when you crashed, you're probably going to feel a sensation of fear, panic, or anxiety. And it might be small or it might be big. That's the timeline, or the ganglia, your neurons, your nerve cells being activated from the timeline of that past experience and implicitly projecting data into your consciousness, trying to help you survive optimally. And this comes up all day, every day. If you're in a place where you've been before, then every time you're walking, your brain and your body are projecting data from the timelines of every time that you've been in that place before. Which is why going to places new can be so exciting, because there's less data being projected and it actually feels like a new experience. Because there's not all these timelines in that place. There might be particular things, like you might see a flower, or you might see a person, or you might see a sign, or you might see something that reminds your brain and body of a certain timeline, and it becomes activated, but the general location doesn't have timelines connected with it inside of you, and so there will be fewer projections in that regard. And that's why going somewhere new is so exciting. So exciting. Fewer activations, fewer implicit projections, more room for the newness of experience. So we all have these timelines inside of us that are constantly being activated. And one of these aspects is muscle memory. I just rollerbladed for the first time in over 10 years, and the muscle memory came back to me. But in the moment, all the other timelines associated with the time where I learned how to rollerblade also came back. Isn't that so fascinating? Isn't that so fascinating? So we're constantly being activated. And so as we move through our days, people, places, and things are constantly activating unconscious memory systems, constantly activating timelines inside of your brain and your body that are affecting your perceptual experience of the present moment. And you don't know about it. It's happening unconsciously. You don't know that a part of your brain and body is remembering that one time from 25 years ago. You don't know that your brain and your body are completely retrieving the fully categorized memories from 7 years ago or whatever it is. You don't know that. You don't know about any of that stuff. It's happening in your unconsciousness. Or you could say it's happening in your subconscious, unconsciously, however you want to describe it. We are all filled with timelines. We're all filled with timelines. And these timelines are impacting our perceptions, our decision making, our awareness, our thought patterns, our feelings, our responses, our reactions, our ideas, our impulses, our urges. all the stuff we're experiencing is being impacted by the unconscious activation of timelines inside of our brain and body. And timelines, again, are the wiring inside of us, these ganglia, these nerve cells, these neuron bodies inside of us that house information from certain time periods, because all the wiring inside of us comes from experience. And so it might not be a memory like, I remember that one time it was sunny and I had a nice Coca-Cola and it was a good day. It's not just those kind of memories. There's other kinds of memories. There's other kinds of memories that are not so explicit. And these kinds of implicit unconscious memories are impacting us dramatically. Who you think you are is much more based in the wiring of your brain and body through experience than the truth of who you are, which is your pure consciousness, your pure love, light, and miracles, and you're not defined by your experiences, thoughts, or feelings, but you can choose whether you agree with that or not. So we're all filled with timelines, and every piece of external and internal stimulus is activating timelines in nanoseconds to milliseconds. That means in the time that you even are able to perceive something, there's like 100 more activations that you don't know about. And it's impacting the way you think, the way you feel, the way you perceive, the way you respond. And it's all happening beyond your direct and immediate awareness. It's really, really profound stuff. Vast, expansive, infinite, wonder-filled miracles of consciousness and neurophysiology. We're all filled with timelines. Our experience determines the manner in which our brain and body are wired. And we got trillions of neural networks in our brains, and we have expansive miracles all throughout our body. How does your gut know how to digest food? Do you think it has something to do with muscle memory? Do you? So we're all filled with timelines. Why does this matter? It's important to understand this for a lot of different reasons. What's going on now has much more to do with what's happened in the past than what's going on right now. What we're thinking and feeling now has much more to do with past experiences than it has to do with the present moment. And that's why it's important to bring ourselves present. It's important to practice being an objective observer and conscious responder so that you have more power within yourself. Otherwise, these unconscious activations are going to completely dictate who you are and how you move through life. And that's a powerless place to be. It's not a very enjoyable place to be. So keep this in mind. Every piece of internal and external stimulus is activating a timeline. If you don't like what you're feeling, shift the timeline by shifting your intention and attention. If you don't like the way a certain TV program is making you feel, turn it off. If you don't like the way a certain song is making you feel, turn it off. Because how you're feeling is a clue of consciousness. And if there's something being unconsciously activated in you that's connecting you with a timeline that brings you pain, stop feeding that timeline. It seems simple, but it's also really hard to do in the moment because it doesn't seem obvious. It's simple, but it's not really obvious. You might be feeling a certain way, and it could be attributed with a million different things, But it's a clue of consciousness, and it most likely has to do with the style in which internal or external stimulus is activating timelines inside of you. Shift the timeline activation by shifting your intention and attention. If your intention is to tune out and your attention's on the TV, then shift your intention towards loving yourself and shift your attention towards frolicking in nature. Just one example. Infinite examples. Shift your intention and attention to shift the activation of timelines within your unconsciousness, and that will shift the way you're experiencing your present moment experience and yourself, because your consciousness and your neurophysiology will be activated in different ways. Every time a timeline or a neural network or a pathway of ganglia is being activated, it's growing. When it's activated, it's growing. It's getting bigger, it's getting larger, it's being enhanced, it's being amplified, it's expanding, it's rah! And so if there's something that's being activated and we don't like that experience, it's important to stop activating it. If a certain thought pattern is creating anxiety, don't go to that thought pattern anymore. I know it's easier said than done, but it starts with an intention and by being consciously present with where your attention is and how your attention's being focused there, which has to do with the intention. So if you're noticing, when I think about this, I start to feel worry and anxiety, and then I kind of drift into an unpleasant place and I'm not fully present with my body anymore. Notice that, become aware, and shift the focus. Okay, these things tend to lead to thinking this stuff. So when I start to notice these, I'm going to be really conscious and really present, and I'm going to shift my focus, and I'm going to shift it in this direction because this direction feels good. You're allowed to think about things that feel good. You're allowed to shift your focus towards things that bring you joy and peace and hope and beauty and empowerment. You're allowed to choose things that feel good to think about. It doesn't mean necessarily, drifting off to La La Land and imagining a bunch of unicorns and fairies, although, life is life and sometimes we need to do that. But choose thoughts that feel good. I appreciate that I'm here now. I'm so glad I had food for breakfast. I'm so glad the sun is shining today and it's not just not existing. I'm so grateful for my breath. I'm so thankful for colored pens to write with. Breathe deeply. Okay? Shift the focus to something that feels good. It doesn't have to be like a super big thing. It's allowed to be a really small thing. Like looking at a flower and just being like, wow, that's really pretty. I'm just gonna stay here and focus on its beauty and breathe deeply because this feels good to focus on. Find a lot of healing in that. Because as simple as that sounds, you're shifting the activation of your entire consciousness. You're shifting the activation of your entire neurophysiology. And when you're doing that, you're affecting the way it's wired. And when you're doing that, you're affecting the way that you'll experience it in the infinite potentials of tomorrow. So it's a big deal. Redirecting and just staring at a flower for 5 minutes might seem silly, it might seem small, but it's doing a lot behind the scenes. It's doing a whole lot, and it's doing a whole lot of good. We are all filled with timelines, and it's constantly affecting our experience because every single piece of internal stimulus, which means thoughts and feelings and that kind of stuff, the way I'm thinking, the way I'm responding to what I'm thinking, the way I'm responding to what I'm feeling or how I'm feeling, that's internal stimulus. And then external stimulus, anything I see, hear, taste, touch, smell, sense, feel, notice is a piece of external stimulus. Anything that's going on out here, event-wise or sensory-wise or people-wise or anything, this is all external stimulus. So internal, external stimulus, constantly activating timelines in our brain and body, which is based in memories, but it has to do with the wiring of who we are neurophysiologically. And that is dramatically affecting our perceptions and our feelings and our thoughts and the way that our brain and body are engaging. And this includes dysregulation. If we're experiencing brainwave or nervous system dysregulation, it might be because of something presently happening. If it's like just wildly stressful and there's immediate stress that's very real and very palpable and very much a present tense threat. But more often, we're experiencing that because wiring in our brain and body from a past timeline when there was stress over there is being activated here because of a certain type of internal or external stimulus. And the stress we're feeling here has nothing to do with here and everything to do with there. Something in the past that's trapped in our brain and body. Shift the focus to shift the stimulus you're absorbed to in order to shift the activation of timelines and completely transform your experience of your own self. And in this process, you're rewiring things, because if you can find a way to deactivate some of those stressful timelines or painful timelines and activate more timelines that feel good, you are rewiring your brain and body. You're rewiring your brain and body. It's actually that simple. And then the more that you do that, okay, every day I'm going to focus on stuff that feels good. Every day I'm going to show up in self-love. Every day I'm going to have self-compassion and redirect myself away from any thoughts or feelings that aren't feeling good. I'm going to practice it, so even when I'm not perfect, my intention is there, and I'll keep trying and doing my best, and I know that's enough. You do that every day, your brain will be rewired in a few months, maybe a year, and you'll totally experience yourself and life differently. And it'll be really good. It'll feel a lot better than it does right now. Good stuff, super good stuff. So timelines, they matter. And we can go into it more at another time, but this is also helpful because if there's a certain timeline that's causing pain, we can go in and specifically work with that timeline, heal, transform it so that it's not affecting us in negative ways now. And I've done that a lot. a lot. I'm madly gifted in that realm of experiencing and healing consciousness. So timelines are important. So notice how you're feeling and shift your intention and attention wherever you can towards stuff that feels better. Shift the activations. Transform your life. And if you're looking for healing journey tools or resources, I offer consciousness consulting services, and I also offer healing journey products. And one of my brand new products focuses on this very specifically. It's called Healing into Happiness Playbook, and it completely helps you transform your entire neurophysiology by just doing small things that are really fun, easy, and enjoyable, and focused in self-love, personal power, and self-compassion. So while you're having fun and playing and doing these things that are really easy and tangible and doable, and some of them only take a few minutes, you're also rewiring your entire brain and body, reprogramming your nervous system, reprogramming your brainwaves, regulating yourself in powerful ways that reprogram yourself to be more regulated in the future, as well as more present in the now. Increasing frontal lobe engagement, increasing balance between brain hemispheres, transforming your unconscious memory systems. You get to do all this really cool, powerful, transformative stuff while you're having fun playing and, not having to stress out or work hard. So Healing and Happiness Playbook, really powerful, totally transforms the game of mental health, totally empowers you into the fullness of all that you are, totally gives you all the tools and resources you need to transform your life in a way that feels good and in a way that's doable. All of these exercises or play prompts are designed to be things that can very easily be incorporated into your everyday healing journey of life. Because I know that sometimes time is limited, or energy is limited, or resources are limited. And my Healing into Happiness Playbook keeps that in mind. Every prompt is designed to be stuff you can easily do in your everyday healing journey of life. Like while you're driving or while you're walking. It's designed to be very doable, and it's designed to be fun, and it's designed to have a lot of healing power. And then I also offer consciousness consulting services where we get together on a call and we share sacred healing space, and I dive deep into your healing journey with you to explore what's been happening in your internal world. And then together we explore that so that you have all the tools, resources, insight, awareness, understanding that you need to move forward to completely reclaim your power, completely transform your life, love yourself like never before, and be a friend to the miraculous consciousness that carries you. I help you interpret your clues of consciousness and create a tangible plan of action, how to respond to these clues so that life can start to feel a whole lot better. And then I also offer guided meditations, very powerful, very awesome experiences of practicing presence with your consciousness. Very beautiful, diving deep into these cracks, corners and crevices of your consciousness, practicing presence with aspects of yourself that maybe you've never even met before in a way that feels really good. So I have my guided meditation collection, and then I also have a Restoring Consciousness Toolkit. And this is a game changer, single-handed game changer. I have my own diagram of consciousness that I present in it, and I explain, explore, and empower human consciousness from the inside out. There's no one else in the world talking about consciousness or mental health or healing empowerment in this way. And it single-handedly helped me transform my life from the inside out against all odds when over 100 doctors, or about 100 doctors, had said that my 15 plus battles were completely incurable and there was nothing else they could do after I'd been in treatment for years and years and years. So my Restoring Consciousness Toolkit, one of a kind, priceless opportunity to completely reclaim your power and transform consciousness from the inside out. Explains, explores, empowers human consciousness from the inside out, explains your subconscious realms, provides you with all the tools you need to work with your subconscious parts, things at a glance, step-by-step instructions, how to recognize the clues, how to interpret them, how to respond, how to work with your parts, how to reclaim your power, step-by-step instructions, what is power, how do I have it? That's my Restoring Consciousness Toolkit, and I would just be honored to share this sacred healing wisdom with you. It is truly a life changer, and I promise your healing journey is worth investing in. The friendship that you have with your consciousness is worth investing in. You're going to spend the rest of your life with your brain, body, and your consciousness. You're the only person you're guaranteed to spend the rest of your life with. Isn't that a relationship worth investing in? Isn't this a healing journey of all of life? The life you're going to be infinitely experiencing in this lifetime? Like, that's a lot of days and a lot of moments to come. Isn't that worth investing in? And so please email me to inquire about any of my healing journey offerings, my services, or my products. I would love to share this with you because I know the power it has, and I want you to have all the power in the world. I want you to stand firmly in your power. I want you to love yourself deeper than ever before. I want you to be able to have infinite moments of happily ever after because your consciousness feels good to live in. I want that to be your reality. So you can email me at artistryofexistence@gmail.com to order any of my stuff or schedule a call or just ask me for more information about it. There's also more information on my website, so you can check out the links below in the video description. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. I appreciate you joining me for Conversations with Kristin, where we explore human consciousness from the inside out. I'm really grateful for you, and yeah, just tune in with awareness to the timelines that are being activated. It's going to provide you a lot more insight and self-awareness and understanding about what's happening within you in your everyday healing journey of life. And from that space, you'll have a lot more power in how to respond and how to love yourself deeper. And there will be a lot more room to have self-compassion and grace for everything that you're going through. I love you and I appreciate you, and I will see you next time. Have a beautiful and blessed day, soul friends. Namaste. The divine light in me sees and honors the divine light in you. I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. And thank you for being you.